What's up, everyone? John Manson, Sea Red, back this week, and we are getting ever closer to game week. Depending on when you're watching this video, may actually be game week, but recording it just ahead of the start of game week as the Flames prepare to kick off the 2026 season up in Harrisonburg, Virginia, just a couple hours down the road from here in Lynchburg, against the JMU Dukes. Obviously, JMU's coming off a CFP appearance last year, and now they're under first-year head coach Billy Napier, former Florida head coach, and Liberty's under fourth-year head coach Jamie Chadwell. Flames trying to bounce back from a very disappointing 4-8 campaign in 2025, and I wanted to go through, each game on the Flames schedule this coming season and kind of give my prediction on win-loss record and game-by-game breakdown of how I think they'll play out. Obviously, we can all look back in 3 months and make fun of my predictions because in this day and age of college football, who knows what's going to happen? You got so many new faces, from coaching staffs to players. I mean, you look up and down the rosters of Conference USA teams, other teams Liberty's going to face, including JMU, including the Flames, and teams have 50, 60 new players. There's quarterback competitions and quarterback battles and new starting quarterbacks all over the conference, all over Liberty's schedule. So really to give a really accurate prediction of what's going to happen, we really don't know. But hey, it's fun. Let's do it. And we're going to go right through all 12 games on the season. I'll give some key points on each team, and if I think Liberty's going to win or lose the game. And like I said, bookmark this video, come back at the end of November, make fun of me because I got everything wrong. So, and also, as I'm doing this, you guys go through and make your own comments. Leave them in the, make your own predictions. Leave them in the comments below, and we'll talk about it. So, like I said, starts off JMU September 5th. In Harrisonburg, Virginia. It's a noon kickoff, week 1 on ESPNU, which, I love personally, kind of sidebar. I love that kickoff time slot, right? Like, I mean, it's really the first, college football day, full day of college football, week 1. Obviously, you got some games this weekend, week 0, but week 1, you got a full slate of games, and Liberty's playing in the first window. Yes, I know there's games Thursday night, and I'm assuming there's probably some Friday night as well, too. Actually, there are. But Saturday is the first full Saturday of college football, and Liberty's in that first window at noon. And if you look at the slate, there's not a ton of very intriguing games. So there'll probably be a decent amount of eyeballs on the Flames and the Dukes. Last year, JMU got the best of the Flames at Williams Stadium in Lynchburg, 31-13. It is a game that was tied at 10 at halftime, and then JMU just dominated the second half after Liberty's starting quarterback Ethan Vasco went down to injury late in the first half. Obviously, JMU went on to a 12-2 season, made it the CFP, where they lost to Oregon in the first round. Bob Chesney left. He's at UCLA now. In comes Billy Napier. Last year's meeting was the first of 10 meetings between these two programs over the next 16 years. It's a battle of the Blue Ridge, is what they're labeling it, and they're playing for a trophy and things like that. So, JMU loses a lot. There's a lot of unknowns for them. Likewise, there's a lot of unknowns for Liberty. If you look, and I've been paying attention to a lot of GMU podcasts and beat writers and things over the last several weeks, just trying to get an idea of how things are going. They're in a quarterback competition. As last I've heard, they've named the top 2 that they're going that are battling it out, and there's been some inconsistency. At least what Coach Napier has said. It sounds a lot like what Coach Chadwell has said previously. So we're not really getting a great ton of information on JMU. Now, JMU is a very respected program. They've had good seasons, obviously last year, last few years. So we expect them to have another solid season. I know you can look at what Napier did at Florida, but go back and look at what he did at Louisiana. I think that's more apropos, more comparable to what to expect out of him at JMU in time. Now, can he do it year 1? We'll just have to wait and see. But I do expect the Flames to lose this game. They're currently about a 6.5 to 7 point underdog on the road. And I mean, it's a game that Liberty could win. Wouldn't be shocked if they win. But hopefully, as a Liberty fan and supporter, the Flames are able to keep it within a touchdown or 10 points, keep it competitive late into the game, and then maybe a play or two goes your way, and you're on the right side of that scoreboard. But I do have the Flames dropping that season opener to go 0-1 to begin the season before they return home week 2, Gardner-Webb, 6 p.m. Williams Stadium home opener. The running Bulldogs FCS team, obviously Liberty is undefeated against FCS programs since making the move to the FBS ranks back in 2019. Gardner-Webb went 7-5 last year. They got a first-year head coach, Chris McCullough, so the second straight week Liberty will playing a first-year head coach. McCullough came from Division II UT Permian Basin, where they went 11-3 back in 2025, was a top 5 team nationally in Division II. But Liberty should win. Like if we were having to worry about losing to Gardner-Webb, we got a lot bigger issues. So the Flames get the win, move to 1-1. Week 3, back at home, second straight week, Ball State, MACFO comes into Williams Stadium. This kickoff scheduled for 4 p.m. It's on ESPN+. They're under second-year head coach Mike Urimovich, something like that, whatever. They've had 4 straight losing seasons, including a 4-8 mark last year. They've kind of been towards the bottom of the MAC the past several seasons. They did recently name Keldrick Luster as their starting quarterback, former SMU and Texas State transfer. Luster is 5'10", 250 pounds, so a bit of a bowling ball. Don't typically see quarterbacks at 5'10", don't typically see them at 250 pounds, although Liberty does face 2 quarterbacks at 250 pounds, or scheduled to, which we'll get to that more in a minute. But I expect the Flames to win this game at home against a MAC program. Again, Liberty's in their 4th year under head coach Jamie Chadwell. Obviously, a lot of new faces, new pieces, but by week 3, you've played an FCS team, you played a Sun Belt foe in James Madison. You should be starting to figure out who you are and what your identity is, and you should be able to beat a lower half MAC team at home. We'll point out that Liberty's only played Ball State one previous time. That was 2010. Liberty got the win as an FCS program over the FBS MAC team. Mike Brown led the Flames to win back then, 2010. So I'll have the Flames winning this one, going to 2-1. Week 4, and this is where the Flames schedule starts to get a little weird. You play at Coastal Carolina on Thursday night, September 24th. This one is on ESPN, so it should be a really good TV audience with the Flames and the Chanticleers. And it's a lot of storylines here too, right? I mean, you can obviously look at head coach Jamie Chadwell, this biggest story, him returning to a place where he really made a splash, really splashed onto the national scene from his time as head coach at Coastal Carolina there for several seasons, including that 2020 season where they went undefeated until they got to the Cure Bowl and lost to Liberty, which was the last time these two teams met. Prior to that, the programs were meeting just about every season when they were in the Big South. And they were meeting every season when they were in the Big South. And, Coastal moved up to the Sun Belt, and then Liberty followed to the Conference USA a few years later. And both programs have had some success at the FBS level. Coastal's still trying to find their way in the post-Chadwell era. They got a first-year head coach this year. Ryan Beard takes over after being at Missouri State. They got 56 new players. Obviously, Beard and Missouri State beat the Flames last year at Williams Stadium here in Lynchburg. So, like I said, Coach Chadwell's returning to Coastal Carolina. A lot of the staff's returning to Coastal Carolina. And, a lot of storylines. I do think that the Flames, another thing you got to watch out for is the Coastal Carolina quarterback, Grayson McCall, is now on staff as an offensive analyst. So he's going to be very familiar with this Liberty coaching staff, the schemes, the systems, all that, as is former Missouri State head coach Ryan Beard. I mean, he just played this team, less than a year ago. But I think the Flames will get this one done. I think Coach Chadwell will have his team primed and ready to go against the Coastal Carolina team that's rebuilding a little bit, trying to get back to what they were when he was under their watch. So I'll go ahead and give the Flames the win to get to 3-1 to conclude non-conference play at 3-1. which I take that right now. If you're asking me if we can get out of the month of September at 3-1, I'd be very happy. But again, it's a short week. Liberty has to turn around from playing Saturday night at home against Ball State, just a few days later, Thursday on the road against Coastal Carolina. Then the following Friday, it is October 2nd. Liberty is at Delaware. Delaware is a team that I think you got to watch out for this season. If you're a Conference USA fan, a Liberty fan, keep an eye on the Blue Hens. I think they're going to hang around in that conference picture in the top half of the conference throughout much of the season, maybe even into the conference championship game. This was probably Liberty's best performance last year, beating Delaware 59-30 at home at Williams Stadium. It felt like, I think that was like the third straight win Liberty had and got back to 500 or maybe just above 500. Felt like they were kind of turning the corner, and then things kind of went off the wheels after that. But Ryan Carty returns. They went 7-6 last year, made it to a bowl game the first year in the FBS, first year in Conference USA. They had a couple of 3-point losses, so their record could have easily been, have had 8 wins, 9 wins. They returned Carty, as I said, also Nick Minicucci, their quarterback, first team preseason all conference anywhere you look. Is on a lot of watch lists nationally for quarterback awards. They return a lot. Also will note that former Liberty linebacker Manny Rojas is the defense coordinator there, as he was last year. Also, Liberty's on the road at Delaware, where Carty is 23-4 at home as a head coach. Carty's also at his alma mater as the head coach there at Delaware. I'm going to this game, planning on going to this game. I've looked at hotels up in the area. Everything's sold out. I don't know if that's typical, but I mean, I'm staying 30, 45 minutes outside of town, so I'm expecting it to be a large crowd. You would expect Delaware to be ramped up for this game Friday night against Liberty, kind of the name brand within Conference USA. I'm going to say Liberty drops this one to start off conference play at 0-1. And the second loss of the season, be at 3-2 at this point in time. Liberty then returns home, and I think that's a Thursday night game. Yep, so 6 days later against Sam Houston at home. And this brings back memories of the 2023 season when Liberty last played Sam Houston at home, a game that was decided on the final play of the game. A late defensive stand where Liberty withstands the win on midweek on the mountain. Back then to remain undefeated, and obviously went on to go undefeated in conference throughout the regular season, conference champions, and obviously went to the Fiesta Bowl. The two teams did not play last year, but 2 seasons ago, Liberty and Sam Houston played in the regular season finale, where Liberty, if they won, would have made it back to the conference championship game for a second straight year. The Flames lost 20-18. You might remember Caden Salter was banged up some that week. The Flames, ended up losing that game by 2, went for 2 late and did not get it. So, second year under Phil Longo for Sam Houston. They've got their work cut out for them. I do expect them to be better than they were last year, where they had their home stadium was undergoing construction. And they did not play at home. They played their home games at a high school stadium, I believe it was, about an hour away from campus. I expect them to be more competitive, to be better than they were a season ago. But again, Liberty at home should take care of business against Sam Houston to get to 1-1 in conference play. Liberty then has 2 weeks off before playing at Kennesaw State, defending conference champs. The Owls, under first-year head coach Jerry Mack, went 10-4 and went from worst to first in 1 year under his leadership. And, I would expect Kennesaw to be, a respectable team again this year, maybe competing for a conference championship. I certainly believe them to be in the top half of the conference. They always get geared up for Liberty in every sport. And, Liberty's, you go back down there, first time being back there since, 2024, that shocking loss as an unbeaten Liberty against a winless Kennesaw State. And, the Flames have kind of not gotten back on track since then. And, I'm predicting Liberty to lose this game. Syracuse transfer Ricky Collins is taking over as starting quarterback. So a lot of unknowns for the Owls. They lost a lot in the transfer portal. We don't know exactly how good they will be, but you do expect them to be solid under Coach Mack. So I have the Flames dropping this game to go to 1-2 in conference play. Then we get back to the normal Saturday schedule moving forward. Beginning Halloween Day, October 31st, Liberty hosts FIU. Panthers beat the Flames last year. Remember, FIU is under second-year head coach now, Willie Simmons. As 9 years as a head coach, Coach Simmons has always had a winning record, including last year where they went 7-6, made it to a bowl game. I'd expect more of the same. I mean, you can't bet against this guy from having a winning season. So again, I expect FIU to at least be in the middle of the pack of the conference. J.J. Cole has been named their starting quarterback, App State transfer. He's the other 250-pound quarterback I said Liberty would face. He's 6'7", 250 pounds. Had some success at App State during his time there. And I think Coach Simmons has kind of got that program turned in the right direction. Things are moving in the right way for them. But I still think the Flames will get this win at home. And I think that evens up their conference record, if I'm correct. I'm not keeping track of this very well. You guys can probably keep track of it better than I can. Then the following week, Liberty heads out to New Mexico State. Remember, UTEP's out of the league now, so New Mexico State's kind of on an island out there in the western half of the country in Conference USA. Yeah, you got one team in Sam Houston in Texas, but that's still a long ways away from the two, between the two. But Tony Sanchez, he's in his third year as head coach at New Mexico State. They went 4-8 last year and really struggled a lot under Coach Sanchez, who has yet to have a winning season as a head coach, the opposite of Willie Simmons. He was also head coach at UNLV prior. But, the Aggies have been unable to maintain their momentum that they had under head coach Jerry Kill, quarterback Diego Pavia. Obviously, they departed a few seasons ago, went to Vanderbilt, and you probably know the story of Diego the past couple of seasons at Vandy, where he had a lot of success. But New Mexico State hasn't been able to maintain that same level of success, that same level of momentum that they had built in those couple of years, going back to 2022, 2023, when Coach Kill and Pavia were there leading them. So I think Liberty will get the win. It is a long travel, long flight that you do have to worry about, but Coach Chadwell and this team has made that trip before. They should understand what they're getting into. So I'll give the Flames a win there. Then Liberty comes back home for the next two games, take on Middle Tennessee as we get into November 14th, mid-November. Liberty takes on Middle Tennessee. Derek Mason's in his third year guiding the Blue Raiders. There's a lot of noise around him. Some fans that are unhappy with this level of success they've had. Obviously went 3-9 last year. They did have 3 losses that came by 3 points or fewer, so they could have been close to that 4, 5, 6 win mark. Roman Gagliano returns as a starting quarterback. He kind of took over late in the year last year. They won the last 2 games of the season with Gagliano starting at quarterback. So they're hoping to build off that momentum from a season ago. But Liberty at home should take care of business against Middle Tennessee. Western Kentucky the following week comes into Lynchburg. The Hilltoppers have been a model of consistency under head coach Tyson Helton. They maybe haven't had the level of success that some of the WKU fans would prefer. They haven't won a Conference USA championship underneath of him, but they have won at least 8 games in 6 of 7 seasons there, including 5 straight. So like I said, they kind of been a model of consistency. If you look around the country, most national pundits have Western Kentucky competing for a conference championship in Conference USA, maybe even winning Conference USA. And that's just because they've been in the mix each of the past few seasons. You expect that to continue to happen. So I would expect Western to be in the mix again this year. This game, the next to last week of the regular season could have a ton of conference championship implications on it. We don't know, obviously, at this point in time, as we're, mid to late August. But I'll give Liberty the win. The Flames are 5-0 all time against Western Kentucky, but this won't be an easy game. Hopefully the Flames can pull out the win. Then regular season finale, Liberty goes to Missouri State to play on the road. This is a team you like to get earlier in the season, where they got a new head coach. Casey Woods is taking over first time as a head coach. Obviously, I talked about Ryan Beard. He left. He was at Missouri State, led them to a winning season and a bowl game their first year in the FBS and Conference USA, similar to Delaware. Also had quarterback Jacob Clark there, who had a lot of success in his time at Missouri State, including last season. So Beard and Clark are gone. Woods is in. He was the offensive coordinator at SMU. His dad, Sparky Woods, may be a name some of you football diehards know. He's also on staff at Missouri State. They have the fewest returning starters in all of Conference USA. So you would expect this to be a bit of a rebuilding year, but you don't know. Like, how will they respond under the first-year head coach? Could they pull a Kennesaw State under Jerry Mack type thing and go from someone that you don't expect them to do well to being in the top half of the conference? Maybe. I don't think many people are expecting that to happen. I think Missouri State will probably be towards the bottom of the conference. But again, you'd rather have them earlier in the season. You get late in the season, they're probably looking to play spoiler. They probably have turned a corner a little bit under the first-year head coach and figure some things out. They know who they are. They know their identity. But I'll give the Flames a win here. So I think if you tally that all up, it comes out to 9-3 and 6-2 in conference play. Would that put the Flames in a Conference USA championship game? I don't know. It would probably come down to a tiebreaker. Obviously, you got 10 teams in the league. Everybody plays 8 games. So everybody misses the ninth opponent, ninth member of the conference. So you would expect there to be a one or maybe even an undefeated team, one-loss team in Conference USA play. Would 2 losses get you into a conference championship game? Potentially. Depends on the tiebreaker, likely, because you would likely have multiple teams at 2 or fewer losses, would be my guess. So that's kind of my quick rundown. Hope I didn't talk too fast, ramble through some of that too much, too fast. Play it on half speed or whatever if you want to. But yeah, let me know what you think. So I got the Flames going 9-3, 6-2 in Conference USA play. If that happened, would you be happy? Would the season be success? Would the Heat continue to ramp up on this coaching staff, or would you be content with a 9-3 season? Depending on what happens with the conference championship race. So that's kind of what I think. Again, like I said, in a week from now, you can probably throw this out the door. There's so much we don't know about the Liberty team. There's so much we don't know about the teams that they're facing. But this is a fun exercise, fun thing to go through and kind of give you my opinion on where I think the Flames are, or where you would think they should be. Certainly with this schedule and with this, the resources that the Flames have, that far surpasses the rest of Conference USA in football, that the Flames will be competing for and winning conference championships most, if not every year. And, the Flames obviously weren't there last year. They were in the mix there in 2024, kind of came up short at the end, obviously, and things kind of didn't go well towards the end of the season. So it kind of leaves a little bit of a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths. But, we'll see. And I'm hopeful that they can get to 9 wins. Vegas has Liberty at, over under 8.5 wins. This would put them right over that number. I think ESPN, SP Plus, also FPI has them at the same thing, right around 8 wins or so. So we'll see. It should be hopefully will be a lot of fun following the Flames this season, and hopefully win a lot of games. And I think that JMU game is very important just for momentum of the team, momentum of the season, momentum of this fan base, and potentially attendance for the following games. You got the next 2 games at home after the game against JMU. If you go out there and get embarrassed, that's not going to feel good. When you return home, especially coming off that 4-8 season a year ago. So hopefully the Flames have a good showing against JMU, get a win, and that one obviously would be ideal. But we'll have a lot more about the JMU game here, in the coming days, over the next week. Be sure to stay tuned to seared.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all the above. Make sure you follow, like, subscribe, share, comment. All those things really helps out. Maybe you've been following us a lot and watching a lot of our videos on YouTube. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Make sure you're subscribed. It helps us out, helps get our content to more Liberty fans. And I guess that's about it. Talk to you guys later. Go Flames.